Hello, and welcome to Handled Ish Productivity for the Imperfect, a weekly podcast for those who want to elevate their productivity but are not looking for perfection. I'm your host, Betsy Hayes, and I am so glad you're joining me from Podcast Land or on YouTube. This is episode 39, How Holiday Traditions Can Help with Productivity. So first, a couple of updates. I'm actually sitting at my dining room table. So I'm coming to you from a new location in my house. I'm still here most of the time. I'm laughing because my crutches were in the shot and I just decided to leave them there. I am putting weight on my leg that got, put back together like Humpty Dumpty with my kneecap. And so that's going pretty well. I get to slowly go from two crutches to one crutch to a cane to walking by myself. I'm going to be doing that over the next 4 weeks, and then I will be bending. So woo! And then in about 8 weeks or so, starting PT. So this is, going to be like a 6-month ordeal, which, the internet told me that based on, how old people are and the severity of their injury, it certainly could be a 6-month ordeal, but better every day moving forward. Also wanted to update about the quest that I'm going to do in my 55th year. On a podcast a couple of weeks ago, I talked about wanting to do 55 of something. So because it's taking a little longer to get my physical self back rolling, I decided I was going to do 55 coffees with 55 different people during this next year. And so I had to think about, okay, well, what's the rules? So the rules are that it needs to be a one-on-one with me and the other person. I have to drink coffee, but if the other person drinks something else, obviously that's fine. And that it has to be a minimum of a 30-minute one-on-one conversation to count for my quest. So I'm really excited. I'm doing the first one tomorrow, and then we'll find 54 more humans to have coffee with during the next year. And I will be, logging them, and I thought about maybe taking a selfie each time to do some collage afterwards. I don't know, but I'm really excited to do this to, get to know people better or strengthen relationships. So it'll be really fun. Also, an update on the physical purge that I had talked about wanting to do for my house. I haven't started that because, again, I'm still on crutches and you can't really use your hands. So once I'm done with being on crutches, I want to start that. And I thought about doing something a little bit different than what most folks do. I know that the traditional thing is to go from room to room, right, and organize it that way. I think I'm going to do like thing with like thing, right? So go through all the books, no matter where they are in the house. Go through all the holiday decorations, no matter whether they're in the house or the garage or whatever. Go through all of the work-related items. Go through all the clothes, all the linens, whatever, kitchen items. And kind of do all the like things together. That just seemed to make more sense to me than, if clothes are in a couple of different closets, you do one closet, but you still haven't done like clothes as a whole. So this is really feeling really good and logical to me. So I don't know, throwing that idea out just in case it helps someone. Also, I got to thinking that when the girls were little, we used to do a full purge of their bedroom twice a year. We did it during winter break and we did it during summer break. And it was so great. We literally went through every single thing in their room and donated what they're not using anymore or didn't want, and organized and just made everything fresh. And while, the doing it wasn't always fun, the result was always really great. And, since that became, something that we always did, there wasn't too much complaining because they remembered, right, that doing that had such a benefit for them. So throwing that out there too, just in case that's helpful. So I love holidays, like all the things about holidays, and I'm a little bit inspired by holidays right now. So I thought of talking about this idea of holiday traditions and how they help productivity. So I'm also a big fan of traditions, which, is why I'm so excited to talk about this topic. But it really made me think that as we are approaching, many holidays, right? We're approaching Halloween, we're approaching Thanksgiving, we're approaching the winter holidays, Christmas, Hanukkah, etc. And all of those things have many traditions associated with them, right? Sometimes there are activities that we do every Halloween. Like, for example, if your children trick or treat, right? That is an activity that happens every Halloween. If you have trick-or-treaters, you need to obviously purchase candy. There's costumes involved, right? So there are things that you do, as you approach the holiday. And I got to thinking that, if we really do embrace traditions, it can actually help with our productivity because it reduces decision fatigue, which, as you know, I love. You also love. Anytime we can reduce the amount of decisions that we have to make, the better and more productive we become. So let's talk about food. If you are not one that has similar meals on holidays or the same meal on holidays, I'm just inviting you to think about it. I'm inviting you to set a standard menu or a standard core menu if you're one who doesn't like to do things the same way every time. But I think even a standard core menu can help you with your productivity because then at least you've got most of the menu plan and then you can add in. If you want to do the same menu every holiday, that obviously really reduces the decision fatigue. And all you have to do is make your grocery list or delegate the dishes, and then you have this wonderful menu that you're going to love and the people you're with are going to love because you have it every year. Um, and while this might, on the surface might not seem very exciting, research has proven that we really love this type of thing. We love traditions, we love rituals as humans, and it gives us something to look forward to that feels comfortable. And I think that's why I love it, because when I think about, what I'm going to have on a particular holiday to eat, and it's the same thing that I've had, since I was a child or close, it makes me feel comfortable and it makes me feel secure. And I don't know, I just love those feelings that are associated with it. So I think that's another argument for setting at least a core holiday menu, if not a full holiday menu. And just do it. You can have variety every year. Maybe you have a different kind of roll or a different kind of pie, but you're always going to have rolls and you're always going to have pie. And this makes everything really fun. Christmas Eve, set menu, Christmas Day, set menu, New Year's, set menu, Thanksgiving, Halloween. To be honest with you, I love the idea of doing that for minor holidays. When the kids were little, I would, every summer, the first day of summer, I would have BLTs, watermelon, and raspberry lemonade, because that way I wouldn't have to think about what to do for the first day of summer. And we always celebrated the first day of summer. And so things like that, right? There was a while when we did homemade pizza for Valentine's Day. And you'll notice that sometimes traditions will ebb and flow depending on the humans that are in your house. And, if your kids are grown, your traditions might change, and that's of course fine. But, just something to think about. Yeah, hot dogs on 4th of July, breakfast burritos, on Mother's Day or Father's Day, those kind of things. That set meal reduces decision fatigue and helps us be more productive and frees up our space in our brain for other things, right? So we can be creative or just relax, all of which is great. Activities are also things that can be part of traditions for holidays. I talked about trick-or-treating and costumes and all of that earlier. I know a lot of people will do like a turkey trot or a run or a walk the morning of Thanksgiving. Some folks will play like a flag football game. Some people will, make sure that football watching is part of their Thanksgiving. For many years in my family, when we did extended family Thanksgivings, we always had a bingo game, and my aunt would, have actual prizes, which were really fun. And that was very joyful. So what kind of activities can you do on a regular basis to make your holidays be more filled with tradition? And again, reduce decision fatigue so you can have more productivity. Because if you know that you're playing bingo on Thanksgiving, you know that you have to get prizes. That's it. You don't have to think about what game you're going to play. You already know. Less decision fatigue, more time for your brain to do something else. Gifts, if you give gifts during the holidays, we did a whole thing on gifts some time ago. But just to revisit that idea, if you give similar gifts or get similar categories of gifts for the holidays, that can again shrink your decision fatigue and help you enjoy everything so much, because you are not starting from scratch every time when you think about what gift to give. You have a category. I think I mentioned this on the podcast about gifts, but I think it's worth repeating that, some people for the holidays will give something to wear, something to read, and something that someone wants. So everyone gets 3 presents. This is like an immediate family thing. And people learn to expect it, and it's part of the tradition, and everyone loves it, and it's just great. And the gift givers don't have to really think too hard about what they're going to do. They're going to have to think about the thing within the category, but that is way better than thinking from scratch. So as we approach the holidays, I encourage you to think about what traditions you do have, and, let's solidify those puppies if it's something that everyone enjoys. If not, and there are things that you want to explore and maybe try some new traditions to see if they work, that might be something to think about. And just a note on that, sometimes you will try something and it just will not work. Your family won't like it. You won't like it. It'll be too much work. It'll interfere too much with something else going on. And these new traditions are one and done, right? And you definitely won't repeat them. And that's okay too. So there's nothing wrong with sprinkling some new ideas in that may or may not work. Oh, fun thing I wanted to mention with the idea of activities. So, my neighborhood puts luminaries out on the side or on the edge of whether it's the sidewalk or the edge of the street, on Christmas Eve, and then the whole neighborhood is lit with luminaries. The streets are lit up, and we walk, throughout the neighborhood and see the luminaries, and it's just a really joyful part of Christmas Eve. And at noon, we go down to the end of the block and we put the luminaries together, and it's a little fun time with the neighbors who, I don't see very much because we're all busy, but a couple times a year I do see my neighbors, and it's really great to, get to know them. And I never have to really worry about what activities we're going to do on Christmas Eve, because at noon we do the creation of the luminaries, the building them, and then Christmas Eve we do our walk, and that makes everything, very special and something to look forward to, which is another reason why I love traditions. I think it's really, 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 really important to have things to look forward to. And the research bears that out as well. I have a dear friend who is now, every time I talk to her, she's starting a new tradition of asking me, okay, what are the 3 things you're looking forward to right now? And it's such a cool conversation to have, because then, of course, I ask her the same thing. And then, as we hang up the phone, we're both in this very good, space of having, discussed the 3 things that we're looking forward to. So all kinds of reasons why, if you're not embracing this idea, you might consider it. And if you are embracing this idea, let's double down, right? Let's double down this year. Let's solidify our traditions. Let's have a good time doing it. Reduce decision fatigue, give people things to look forward to, maybe, sprinkle in a couple of minor holidays, maybe, corned beef and cabbage was, a thing for St. Patrick's Day that, again, my family does very frequently. And, have some fun with it. So I'd love to know what you think. On social media, it's just at Betsy Hayes on everything. BETSYHAYS. My website, BETSY, the letter A, HAYS.com. And, please keep this podcast going. Please share with a friend. And, if you think they would enjoy it, subscribe, please. Rate and reviewing is lovely. I so appreciate your support. And tune in next week for the next episode of Handled-ish, Productivity for the Imperfect. Until then, please take care and be kind to yourself. You are doing way better than you think you are. Trust me. Take care.